So it is on. Okay, hi. Hi, Louise. Okay, so if you don't know me, I am Jamia Carroll, and I am Fat Quarters along with Wendy Pratt and Jessica C. And I really stink at live videos, but I think they're pretty funny. It takes me forever to set it up, obviously. And then, like today, I didn't even know it was going until I saw Louise hop on. So welcome. She's telling me, yes, you're on live. That's good to know. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk a little bit about the tools. And we used to do this a lot, and then things have kind of gotten crazy, and so we haven't gotten into it. And I really love this time. I love learning about all the different tools that you guys know about, and I love sharing the tools that I love with you because I think we all can benefit from it. So while everybody else is hopping on, what I am showing you today are the OLFA cutters. Okay, so these are the rotary cutters. So this is what we're going to talk about today. And if you are just hopping on, I really stink at this live video thing. So if I like blind you with my light like I just did, woohoo! It's because I'm just really, this isn't my thing. We're going to talk about these cutters. And this year, I have the privilege of being a creator for the OLFA team. And that's really cool because I kind of love these guys and I always have loved them. And I totally just threw my name in the hat and thought I had no chance at all. And they said I did. So that made me feel pretty amazing. And so I got some really fun new cutters. So I'm going to tell you what I've done in the past, how I use them. And then some of you had some questions, so I'm going to answer some of those questions. And then if you have questions, I only have my camera going because my laptop, well, I have 5 kids. So my laptop isn't happy, and while it did finally turn on today for the first time in like 3 or 4 days, I can't make it do anything. So I can't really see too many questions, but if I try really hard and you have a question, post it on here. So if I miss it while we're doing this, then we'll answer that question later just on Facebook, like underneath in the comments. And then I will have a blog post up later this evening that has all the info that we talked about today, which really isn't going to be a ton, but it's the fun stuff that I like. And hopefully you have some tips you could share with us. So feel free to do that. So let's just get started. There's a few of you on, and if you're not on, you can watch this later. So basically the difference between a rotary cutter and your scissors, like your regular fabric scissors, one, nobody ever gets to touch these. Actually, that's not a difference. It's the same thing. Nobody ever gets to touch these either. But one of the things that I love about OLFA is that the cutters actually come in different colors. Okay, so this is the brand new. I'm gonna hold it up close because it's stinking adorable. It's not even out in stores yet. I feel kind of cool for having it. I can't lie. So this is the 40th anniversary ruby, which is kind of pretty. It's a really cool color. It's kind of like this rich ruby red. I mean, duh, it's called ruby, but still, I was kind of surprised. I like the color. I'm not a huge fan of like solid red, but this one's really pretty. So what makes a rotary cutter is that it's round like this. Okay, I'm not going to put my fingers on it, but it is round, and that is different from the scissors, which are here. So when you cut with the scissors, I kind of stink with them when I'm cutting fabric, especially because I cut out mainly patterns for my kids. And I don't get that smooth cut that I like. I get like a lot of little jaggy edges. My mom's actually really good with these. And she can get nice smooth cuts, but I can't. So I prefer to cut everything out with my rotary cutter. And because they have these colors, this is why I fell in love with them. Okay, so do I have all my colors out? I use blue. This is the splash one, and this is my favorite type of handle for the OLFA. This is the splash handle, and I use this aqua blue, which is a phenomenal vibrant color. Really love it. This is for my pattern. So this is what I cut fabric with, is this one. I use my purple one for my paper. So once my blade on here gets dull, I switch it over into my purple one. So this one, avoid those lights a little bit more. This one has a dull blade in it, and I use that one for the paper, for when I'm actually cutting out my pattern pieces, when I'm tiling together just the pattern pieces straight off the printer, things like that. I will use the purple one. And then I use this aqua one for the fabric because it's got the sharpest blade in it. Always my new blade is in this one. I also have the yellow one. Now the splash does not come in yellow. Right now, you can only get it in the aqua, in the purple, and they have a hot pink. I don't have the hot pink. I'm just not a pink person, and I never got it. But so my yellow one is what I put my pinking blade in. Can you see that pinking blade? We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I use this sometimes when I'm being lazy. Shh, don't tell. And I don't want to take something over to the serger. I just use this. And I just pink the edges, my seam allowances, so that when the kids wear the clothes, they don't fray as bad. I don't do that if I'm sewing to sell, but if I'm just sewing for my kids, I kind of use it more than I probably should. I also like the pinking one for just like different things. I don't know, I use it for random things. I'm trying to think of what the other stuff I use, but I do use this one quite a lot. So I keep that pinking blade in the yellow, so I always know that one's there. My purple is for paper, and then my aqua is for fabric. And that way I never have to worry about remembering which is the old blade, which one is the pinking blade. That's my system. The problem is I got the new one. So I don't know what I'm going to use the ruby for. Probably, honestly, it's just going to be another fabric one. So I don't know. If you have another grand idea, if there's a different way that you use your cutters or something I'm not thinking about, let me know, because now I need something for this one. So one of the questions that somebody posted was, what are the differences in the actual handle? So OLFA has a few different handle versions, but I'm going to try and show you this the best I can. This one will start with the splash again. So I'm going to come up, I don't know how to make that very good. Can you see that well? I think I can focus on it. Maybe, maybe not. But you can see that on the splash one, when it comes down, you still have the grooves, and this is where you're going to put your finger. So when you hold it, if your blade's on this side, you have your finger in here, and then you grip it right under there so it fits up into the palm of your hand right there. I'm not sure if I have small hands or big hands. I don't really know, but it barely fits. If you can see, it fits right there in the curve of my hand. And this is the reason I like the splash handle the best, because for my hand, it fits pretty perfect. You can see my fingers right here, so I can apply my pressure like this when I cut. And then if I can do it without dropping it, the end part kind of conforms with my hand right here and just rests right in the tip of my palm right there. So this one fits me the best. This is my favorite. I love the splash handles because they're in colors and because they fit me the best. The straight one, this is the brand new ruby one, and it's the straight handle. So it doesn't have that curve. If I hold them side by side, you can see this one's got curves. We like the curves. And this one's straight. Some people might like the straight one. The straight one hits, I think it's a bit, let's see. Can you see that? Yeah, it's a bit longer. Not, well, maybe not. Maybe that's just an optical illusion. Might be the same exact. Yeah, pretty much the same exact size. It's just an optical illusion. But because it's straight, see how I get this gap? Like I can fit my finger through that gap, and it hits me then further back than the splash does. So this one I'm not as comfortable with using, but I know my mom, she always laughs because she has huge hands, or at least she thinks she does. Who do we know? But I bet this would fit her hand better than it would fit my hand, just based on where that arch on your palm hits and maybe how deep it is. So that's the splash and the straight one, okay? So now this, look at this cool bad boy. This one is really great for those of you that can cut with either hand, okay? So I cut left-handed and I cut right-handed. It doesn't bother me to switch around. This one has a bit of padding on the sides. You can see the black padding right here. And then it's got the split blade, or the split handle pieces right here. What it does, if I can do it backwards and show you at the same time, woohoo! So now I've opened up the left-hand side of my blade, and then I can close that and open up the right-hand side of my blade. So I can cut either way with this one. So if I'm in here, I can cut with my right hand, okay? Or if I want to, I close that side up and I can cut with my left hand. My husband said, not even me. No, you can't touch any of my sewing stuff. Sorry. Unless you're sewing me something, then you can. But so this will work if you're a left-hander, if you're a lefty, and these are awkward for you, which they really shouldn't because it's the same thing on either side, but it does sometimes get awkward because depending on how bulky your fabric is, you might need to switch things around. This one's really cool for that. This is brand new to me. I haven't used it very often, but my son is left-handed and I do a lot of things left-handed, so I have a feeling I'm going to kind of end up liking this a lot. So we'll see. The other one, we're going to open it. Okay, this is the ergonomic one. And somebody had a question about this one, so here's that one. And I actually haven't opened it, as you can see. So let's do that real quick. Now, cutting with this is going to be different because you can see it's, I mean, obviously now we've got a total different style here. This one is supposed to curve in to your hand more, and it makes you, I don't know if you can see my whole hand, maybe if I stand here. When I use this one, I keep it back here like this, like I was showing earlier, and then I lift my arm up so that when I'm cutting, I'm putting even pressure all the way across, right? With this one, the second I put it in my hand, like I can already feel myself lifting, so I can tell that it's going to make that movement smoother. So this one you have to, I don't know, you'll have to try it. Let me know if you like it. But this one I can feel automatically because of the way it's actually bent like this. It makes you go down like that immediately. The other cool thing about it, I'll come back closer again. Hi, Stephanie. The other cool thing about it is the way that it's done with this little, this is your locking mechanism right there. I'm holding it upside down at the moment so you can see that little red dot right there. So when you want to expose the blade, you press that in, you see? And then you can, it's hard to do this backwards, guys. I'm sorry. Now it's upside down. Then you can actually press down on there, and that's what exposes the blade outside of this casing. So now I put it away. So outside of this casing, as soon as I press down on this, the blade's going to be exposed. If I want to leave the blade open, because I know I'm doing a lot of cutting, I press that little button from the back in, and now it's out. So see how the handle's staying down? So it's going to lock it, kind of like your pocket knife. When I'm ready to release it, I press the button on this side, and it's going to automatically come out. Now I can lock it this way. Okay, so it's in. And now if I lock it, I don't want to break it. It's brand new. But now that I've locked it, if I'm pressing on it, I can't release that. So the blade's not going to come out. So if you've got a lot of kids at the house, like I've got 5 of them. Mind you, some of mine sew. Some of mine are older. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 6. And probably almost all of them have been cut by a rotary blade by now because they do so. They are part of my sewing space, and that is something that we do together. So it only takes once. It hurts. Like, it's the worst paper cut you can imagine. But this is very useful for if you have children around, or maybe you're running a sewing class with kids. This is what I would suggest because you can lock it in place, and they might come in to say something. But you can lock it into place. I can't expose this blade right now. When I'm ready to expose it, I just click that button again, and then now I can expose it. Okay? So that's basically the huge differences between this ergonomic, how do you say it? I did it great the first time. I practiced too. Now I'm not going to be able to do it because now y'all are staring at me. Anyway, that's what I think about it. Okay, this is the splash one. This is the ergonomic. Come on. Ergonomic. That's it. Ergonomic. Say it with me. Ergonomic. Okay, so this is the ergonomic one, and this is your straight one. This one, there is no locking mechanism. To expose the blade, you press down. Can you see that little handle right there? You press down on that and it exposes the blade, but I can't lock this. So if my kids got this, they could expose it that simply, and let's just not go beyond that. This one, if it's locked, they can't. You can see how wide I can make my knuckles. I really don't want to break it, but I am pushing pretty hard and I can't expose that. The other difference is just the shape. So it makes you automatically kind of do this. Now it still has the ridges, which is really nice. Can you see those ridges? That's where your finger sits when you're cutting. So you have one finger here, and this is your control finger, and applies pressure as you go like this. Okay? So those are the differences between those ones. The other cool thing is that they have sizes, okay? So not only do they have colors, which is my favorite part, and then they have all these different types, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to read it again, ergomatic version, okay? But we also have different sizes. So the sizes actually are more important than you would think about, and there's different things that the different sizes are designed for. I use, obviously, as I'm sitting here, and if I turned you around, like, no joke, I have 3 more on my peg wall. Like, it's kind of an obsession. Wait, I got one more to put in my hands. Okay. This is how many 45 millimeter blades I have, okay? Plus 1, 2, 3 more handles that are sitting on my wall, just in case I can't find one, because I don't have enough. Don't tell my husband how many I have. I use the 45 the most often. It works for all of my projects. I don't quilt very often, but when I do play with that, with quilting and things like that, this one cuts through everything I need. In the actual book that OLFA has, see, they have this like cool training book thing, which is awesome. And you can find, they have tons of tutorials online, so you can find tutorials online how to use them all. They say that the 45 millimeter should cut through 6 layers of fabric. I'm pretty sure it can cut through more. I used to have a fabric shop, that's what started this whole fiasco, and I could cut through more with the 45. They have a larger size, which, if I do this right, probably right about there, and that's the 60 millimeter. And that's going to cut through a few more layers, and it'll cut the thicker things. This will cut just fine. I cut denim with this. I cut leather with this. Yeah, I haven't found anything that this can't cut yet. But the 60 millimeter is the one that they suggest for cutting through thicker, bigger fabrics. Obviously, I already have a plethora of cutters, so I don't really feel the need to have a 60 millimeter. That being said, this little guy, I just got a brand new one of these. Super excited because, like I say, I have had my OLFA cutters forever. And my old one, I don't even know where my old one was, but it's a straight handled one like this. And like I told you before, it's not my favorite. It just doesn't fit my hand as well as the splash ones. But so when I was telling the OLFA team that, they sent me my own cute little 28. You can see how little it is. I'll hold it next to one of these so you can see the difference, hopefully without blinding you. I don't know where that light's coming from, sunshine, I guess. We're not in the polar vortex here. So you can see the differences in sizes. This is the 45 in the blue handle. This is the 28 in the yellow handle, okay? This guy, while you may think it's ridiculous because it's so small, it's not the smallest. Check out this little cutie. Isn't that fun? So this one is the 18. This is a really old one. I use it for really teeny things. I don't use this one as often, but I do actually use my 28 quite often because I do sew patterns and I sew them for children. So often when you get to that arm, see, when it comes, you know, like your underarm right here, y'all want to see my pits? So when you get to this part, when you're doing a pattern, it can be really hard with the kids. See, this is my fabric one. It can be really hard with the kids to make that curve without having to pick the cutter up and then do it again, just because the curve does get really small, especially on the smaller sizes. So I enjoy this little 28 for that reason. I'll use this for my necklines and I'll use it for my arm C. And then if there's any little intricate parts, I can use this guy to get that same continuous and smooth cut that the rotary is for without having to pick up my rotary and keep finding that placement, which I would have to do on this one just because of the diameter of the blade. So that's basically why I use the 28. There are other uses for this. It actually does curves in fabric. So if you want to make a curved border, like a scalloped border, this is better for that. It's going to make a smaller curve and a more consistent curve, like maybe curves isn't the right word, waves. Like, so it'll go like this. Here, let's see. So I brought some fabric out so that you can see. I don't know if you can see it up here well enough, and I can hardly see. See, that looks pretty good. So this guy, when you use it, same thing. Your finger goes onto that little guy, but it's going to make smaller. Okay, so that's the small one. And then let me show you the bigger one. See how it's already not as easy for me to get through that. Shoot, plus I like missed the whole first part. Okay. So that's the wide curve with the 45. And then this is the smaller curving with the 28. So you can see there is a difference when you compare them side by side. And if you're not a math nerd, these are things you might not think about. I'm kind of a math nerd, so I love this kind of stuff. But you can see the difference there. The one over here, this guy right here, oh, that didn't help. Okay, this guy is the 45, and this smaller little one is the 28. And you can see the difference in the ability to make those waves on that. So that is something, another reason that I would use my 28 if I want to do some decorative stuff, and then I'm just going to do a rolled hem on that, or maybe I'm doing applique work, like to put on a bodice or something like that, then I can use the 28. So those are the differences in the sizes. So we only have a few more things. Thank you, those of you that are hanging around, the rest of you. If you have any questions, don't forget, I wrote most of them down, so I'm trying to hit them all. And you can leave questions in the comments and we'll answer them later in the Facebook group, and then I'll make sure that they're on the blog post that's going to go up later tonight. And if you don't know about our blog, you guys are in my Facebook group. And if you go to www.fatquarterssewing, so you got two S's together, fatquarterssewing.com, that'll take you over to our blog, and also www.pqpdfs, so Fat Quarters PDFs, pqpdfs.com will take you over to the blog as well. And we have lots of stuff over there too. But we like hanging out in here. It makes us feel like we have friends. So anyway, so we've got the 3 handles. We covered the 3 handles, and then the different sizes. And one of the other things that's cool, so we didn't talk too much about it. So this is the straight circle, right? If I hold it against that wall so you can see it against the background. This is the pinking one. So you can see that the pinking one, I don't know if I can show you the side view. Oh, maybe like that, but then you can see how much my hands shake when I hold things. But the pinking one, it just cuts out those little triangles. I can show you on here, since you saw the smooth one. If you don't have a serger, or if your serger is broken, you see that? It finishes up the edges of your fabric with those little cutouts, with the triangle cutouts. So it helps it from fraying, and it's just really, really useful if you don't want to finish seams on a serger, or maybe you don't have a serger. A lot of times with knit, because of the nature of a knit fabric, you don't even have to finish it off, even though it looks cool when it's finished off. You could just leave it be, or you could just put a little pink into it. When you're doing curves, instead of like notching, clipping and notching, you can use the pinkering. I can use this, and then it just goes a lot faster than sitting there and doing each of the chickas. So that's one of the differences. They also have, I finally just got, it's like way over there, I'm contemplating, can I reach it without knocking down my lights and knocking you guys down? You're gonna see. You're gonna watch me try. I might really fail. Oh, it's like one of those games. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. So they also have 2 different types of blades. I have never tried these endurance blades before. These are the steel endurance blades. But I'm really, really excited. It says that they cut twice as long as just the regular standard ones. I've always just used the standard ones. And they are I believe it's titanium. I believe all of theirs are, because it is the sharpest metal for the cutting. It's just supposed to last longer. So they're the endurance ones. I'm going to try them out. I'm going to see if I feel like they do better than the regular ones, if they're worth your money. I'll let you know on that. Can't tell you yet. But I do want to show you, somebody wanted to know about sharpening them. I do not sharpen my blades once I've used them. Like I said, I have that color system where once I've used them on here for fabric, then I'm going to put the dull blade on my purple cutter, and that's for paper, because I use purple for paper. That's how I do it. I have not tried sharpening them. I don't think it's worth it really to buy one, because you have to buy a sharpening kit. and those aren't made by OLFA. Those are made by somebody else. So it's just a generic sharpening kit to sharpen the blades. It just seems dangerous. It seems dangerous and a waste of money to me. So it's not worth it for me. So I can't answer the question on whether you can sharpen them because I haven't tried. Once mine go dull, I put them into my paper one. And then when I store them, I do have like these little, can you see that? They come in a plastic box inside there. So I have, that's where I keep the old ones until I've got a stack of them. And then I just, I chuck them in that plastic thing so that I don't have the chance of cutting anybody. My little man's needing something. He feels bad a little. You're gonna have to get over it, dude. I'll be out in a minute. You can come sit in here if you want. So, he wants to get himself some medicine. No, not yet. You have to wait. My kids have been sick for like forever. I got sick before Christmas, and my kids are still sick. It's driving me nuts. I picked up a kid today from school because she was in the nurse. Anyway, so I don't know if anybody's tried sharpening their blades. Let us know what you think of it. I haven't done it. I have no intentions of doing it. I just check them when I'm done with it. To me, it's worth the investment to just buy more. Somebody also wanted to know how to change them. So the way you change the blade is going to depend on which handle you have. The other reason I love these splashes is because they're so easy to change the blade. So I want to make sure that you can see this. So the back, see this little button right here? When you pull that down, this yellow piece is going to come down below and release that, which will release this stem and this front casing, and then it'll come off, okay? It's kind of like magic. It literally, can you all see that? It literally is that easy. There you go. So now I have it without the blade. I usually just use, oh, well, I don't have I love Post-it notes. I have a bit of toilet paper. Sometimes you can see there's like gunk in there. So if you go back, you see me going back and forth. Let's see right there. See how it's kind of falling out? That's how I clean it. And if I need to, did you guys remember seeing the sewing machine? I don't clean my stuff very often. I probably should be better because that was some nasty junk that just came out of there. To clean the blade, if it gets like this, I will hold it like this, and then I just clean around and kind of spin it. You can put some sewing oil in the very center. Let me take this off. You can see it's a little gunky. You can put some sewing oil in the center, and that'll get rid of all that gunk that's in there. And that'll help. Yes, you can watch a show. So we're going to pretend, because this isn't that old, I'm looking at the edges. I think I still have plenty of use out of this guy. So we're going to pretend we just took that all apart, and to put the new one back in, you would take it out of your box. And the part that has, can you see that there's writing on, I mean, don't pay attention to the gunk, but can you see that there's writing on this side? The back side has no writing. The front side has the writing. So you want to make sure when you're putting the cap and stem back in, you're putting it onto the side that has the writing on it. This is the wrong side of the blade. This is the right side of the blade. Then you're literally going to take it. It's kind of hard doing it backwards. Sorry, I have to set it down for a minute because I can't look at you and that at the same time. And you're going to put it back in. And then if you can see on the back, you literally just push that back up. Probably should have had that closed for safety. But this part right there, that's what releases and secures the blade for the splash. So that's how you do it on the splash. The Ergomatic and your straight handled, like the Ruby, you actually have this twisty, might have been easier to see on that one. Yeah. You have this, oh dude, my husband's gonna kill me. I know these words too, but not when I'm like looking at people. This one's the bolt, right? Nut, bolt, I don't know. Sorry dudes. Anyway, this one you twist off. I'm gonna show you on my pinking one. So you take it, I always keep my thumb on the case on the front side, and then you literally just twist that, and you can see it's going to twist all the way off. Now here's an important tip that you should keep in mind, because I did this the first time, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I did it, but that's how my life goes. So once you take it off, right, there's this little washer that's right behind it, okay? And if I hold it in my thumb, you can see that the washer is not flat. Can you see that? If I hold it against my cheek for some contrast, you see how that's not flat? It's curved, kind of like a contact lens. Dudes, it's supposed to be that way. Don't throw it out. So I thought I had broken mine, like just from pressing and from use. So I threw it out. Don't throw it out, because for one, you can't find another one. I searched through my husband's toolbox forever and I never found another one. And then when it goes on, it doesn't go on tight enough, because that curve actually, when you put it back on, I don't know if you can see this. Maybe. Okay, if I hold on my hand, see how it's square? It's not actually round, like the hole is not round. So when you put it back on, that square part's really important. So you would change the blade at this point. You take your thumb off, pull the blade out, put your new blade on, and then to put it back together, you put that washer back on. I swear this one's called, is this the nut part or is this the bolt part? I really don't remember. And then you just twist it back on. But you want to make sure, it's so hard to show, that little washer is laying flat. So when you twist it back on, because you're twisting it back on like this, it actually, I don't think there's any way to show you without showing it in person. But the point of the story is, don't throw away that stupid washer, because it's important. It's not broken. You didn't bend it on your own. OLFA bent it before they sent it to you, because they know how to make their tools. So don't be stupid like me and throw it away. The only nice thing about the fact that I threw it away is that one, I don't even remember which handle it is. It makes the handle really easy to open because I can't get it tight enough. So the problem is sometimes it falls open because there's not enough pressure in between, that this black piece doesn't stay up even though I have this piece up. So I just know that about mine. Don't throw yours away. That's the point of that. So really, changing the blade is that easy. On this guy, you guys just got to screw that back little piece off, pull everything apart. On the splash handles, you just pull this piece down. On this really cool nifty one that goes both ways, it's the same as the splash. You just pull that one down. Yeah, same with this little guy. It's like the splash. You pull it down. So each one is going to be slightly different. But all the instructions and all the tutorials are up on their site, so you can find everything there. I think that's all the questions you guys had. I'm checking. Oh, the one thing to always do, even though, I don't know, are you guys cheap like me? I might be kind of cheap. Except for my obsession with these cutters. It is very important that when you cut on a mat. Now, OLFA has their self-healing mats. They are my favorite mat. Again, that is just because I've had the Fiskars, I've had Cricut ones, I've had some of the scrapbooking ones, I've had a whole bunch. But when I had my fabric shop and I was cutting off the bolt daily, like multiple times, the OLFA one really was the best self-healing mat that I was able to find. So I do enjoy theirs. Whatever mat you use, you do need to use one. If you don't, not only will you be dulling the blade faster, you're also going to be ruining your work surface, and you don't want either of those. So if you want the blade to last longer, use a mat, use a self-healing mat, a nice strong one. And if you're starting to find that you're not getting nice clean cuts, even though you've changed out your blade, it's probably because of the mat and not the blade. That's something else I've learned. There comes a point when the mats just don't work anymore. I've had a few that I've split in half down the 18-inch line just from cutting fabric. But if you're finding that you're not getting a good cut, it's either because the blade is old or because your mat is old. And so you can replace either one of those and then you'll be ready to go again. I haven't really seen too many questions. I have this on this little tripod thing, so I can only see like the top one and the bottom one. But if you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you have tips, share your tips with us. We'd love to know. I'd love to know new tips and how you guys use these. If you use them, who's never used a rotary cutter? What's been keeping you from using it? I'd love to know. It's probably it's probably one of my favorite tools because it cuts so fast and it makes cutting out my patterns so butter smooth. I can cut through a lot of patterns really, really fast, which speeds up my workflow. And that's really important for me, to have a fast workflow, but an efficient workflow. Work harder, not, what is that? Work smarter, not harder. There you go. See, I can do it. Anyway, if you have questions, I have a few more fabrics in here. We could cut through something, but I don't know if that really helps you. We'll try it anyway real quick so you can see how easy. This is really strong canvas. And seriously, oh, that's the paper one. That's never going to work. Actually, we'll use the brand new one, okay? That's it. See how nice and easy? Look at how clean them lines are. No frays on that. So if I cut it, because I'm so talented with scissors, okay, so I didn't even try cutting a straight line. I just kind of went, and because it's so buttery smooth, I was able to. This is my straight line with my scissors, which isn't quite as straight. But you can also see how much quicker it is with the cutter. Let's see how many layers we can get through real quick. Ooh, so I like this. Do you guys ever have a pile of fabrics that you like and you have for scraps, but then you start using it, you're like, no, don't cut through that. I actually like that one. I don't know what I'm saving that little scrap for. Okay, look, here's a good one. This is some hawthorn thread fabric, and we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 layers all together. OLFA also has these are the rulers. They're really nice. So I'm just gonna use that real quick. Oh god, no problem. Just like that. Super simple. If we fold it again, we'd be at what, 16? Let's see. When you got bulky fabric like this, you do have to remember that you don't want to do the blade out. I always do the blade in, because then it fits against my ruler better. No problem. See, and I can't do that. If I want to do that with scissors, not that bad. But this is definitely my preferred method and my preferred tool. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go give my kid some medicine before he decides to medicine himself up. If you have any questions about my plethora of cutters, let me know. Remember, my fun takeaway tip is that the splash are so awesome because you have different colors. So get a few splash. Use the aqua for your fabric, purple for your paper. Tell me what I'm going to use this one for. And use the good old yellow for your pinking one. It's a really easy system. It sits up on my wall. I always know where my blades are, and I kind of love it. These also can hang. You see that? Forgot to tell you that. You can hang them. I have these up on a pegboard, so I just have mine all hung like this. You could also leave them in a jar. I'm kind of a jar freak. I don't know if you can see my jars at the end of the table, but you can leave them in a jar, either up like this. I probably would end up going like this so that they can be in a jar. How do you store yours? I'd love to know. Okay, thanks for stopping in. I hope you have a fun time. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to talk about some other tools for next time, let us know. We always love talking about tools and the different things that help us sew faster and more efficient, and that we just love because they're colorful. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us for our tool talk, and we will see you again soon. Have a great day, guys. Bye.